Welcome to my shop. This video is a build along for a wine cabinet. Let's dive into the design before cutting any wood. This small cabinet is constructed entirely out of solid cherry and is designed to hold a half dozen bottles of wine, glasses, plus several bottles of liquor. Here are some drawings for the cabinet. The construction method I use is a frame and panel, which means the body of the cabinet, called the carcass, is held together with thicker components and joinery with thin floating panels in between. This is a strong method of building that also allows the wood to move seasonally without affecting the overall dimensions of the cabinet. This next drawing is a 3D view of the carcass frame. These are the rails and stiles that form the skeleton of the cabinet. These frame pieces are all held together with 3/8 inch thick mortise and tenon joints. The first step to the cabinet is building the carcass frame. I mill 8/4 cherry for the stiles and 4/4 cherry for the rails. These get jointed flat and square, planed to thickness, and then ripped on the table saw to width. The rails are planed down to 3/4 of an inch thick, and the stiles are left as thick as possible because I'll be shaping them after all the joinery is cut. To cut the parts to their final length, I'm using SawStop's new Revolution miter gauge. This tool is well built and accurate for making all kinds of crosscuts on the table saw. Once all the parts have been milled to their final dimensions, it's time for joinery. There are a lot of different ways to cut mortise and tenon joinery, and in my shop I use a panther router for speed. A plunge router with a jig also works great for this task. I carefully mark out the mortise locations and get to work. All the mortise and tenons for the frame are 3/8 thick by 1 1/4 wide by 7/8 long. These are small joints, but will be plenty strong for this cabinet. After mortises are cut, it's time to cut tenons on the rails. Again, I'm using a panther router for the majority of this task, but I will show you how to use the table saw for tenons in a bit. Once the joinery is cut, I dry assemble the frame to make sure everything goes together well. At this step, it'll be evident if you cut a mortise or a tenon in the wrong place. The front stretcher between the top of the door and the drawer requires a small 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch tenon. I'm using this miter gauge to first cut the shoulder and then carefully slide the tenon cheek across the blade. After all the mortise and tenon joints are cut, I move on to cutting grooves in the frame to house the floating panels. Setting up a 1/4 inch spiral router bit in the router table makes this a quick and easy task. The back of the cabinet will be shiplap panels, so I use a table saw to cut a rebate into the 2 back stretchers, 1/2 inch wide by 3/8 deep. I'll show more clarity on the back panels later on in the video. After all the joinery is cut, the frame styles can be shaped. I made a template using French curves on an 1/8 inch thick piece of plywood. I traced this shape on 2 sides of the stiles and cut it out on the bandsaw. The gentle curve of the stiles is on the outside faces, and the inside faces that house the joinery remain flat and square. After sawing the waste away at the bandsaw, I take the pieces to my bench and clean up the curves with spoke shaves and a belt sander. Frame panels are next on the agenda. I resaw a board with an appealing grain pattern to get a book match set. These get glued up to make the side panels, and the best looking panel is used in the front door. Panels are planed to a thickness of 3/8 inch and then get a 1/4 inch tongue around the edge that fits into the grooves in the frame. My favorite method for cutting rebates into panels is using a 1.5 inch diameter bit in the router table. I then use a piece of 2x4 for a sacrificial fence. I raise the bit into the fence until I've reached a desired height. This method results in 0 tear out because the grain is supported through the entire cut, and I also use a push block to prevent any tear out at the end of the cut. It's almost time to glue up the frame, but first I prefer to pre-finish my components. This allows me to better control any glue squeeze out during the glue up and ensures the panels do not have any unfinished edges that show when seasonal movement occurs. My preferred finish for this type of indoor furniture is Osmo hard wax oil. It looks beautiful and is straightforward to apply. This is a complex glue up with many parts. I break it down into stages, first gluing up the side assemblies and then gluing together the 2 sides to form the entire carcass. Next up is the door. This frame and panel door used the same type of joinery I used on the carcass, so I'm not going to show the entire process. The rails and stiles are 1 3/8 wide by 3/4 thick and held together by 1/4 inch thick mortise and tenon joints. The door is built oversized and will be trimmed to fit the opening in the next step. After gluing up the oversized door, I trim it with the table saw and then get a perfect fit with a hand plane. This allows me to minimize the reveals around the door and account for any slight inconsistencies in the opening. The last step to completing the carcass frame is the top front rail. This is a thin piece that doesn't have room for a full mortise and tenon. Instead, this rail gets dovetailed into the frame stiles. The dovetails first cut and then scribed to the stiles, and finally the waste is removed with router and chisels. The drawer I'm building for the cabinet is dovetailed with a solid bottom. The front dovetails are half blind for aesthetics, and the rear is a through dovetail. There are a lot of different methods to cut dovetails. I use a combination of hand tools and power tools to speed up the process. The top needs a pretty heavy 30-degree chamfer on the underside. The table saw is a great tool for getting this done, but first I clamp a taller auxiliary fence to the main table saw fence. This allows me to better control the workpiece through the cut and gets my hands away from the blade. It's time to give this wine cabinet a wine bottle rack. This is a simple frame design made up of 5/8 thick stock joined together with mortise and tenons. The methods used to build this rack have been covered already, so I'm going to breeze through the process. The last step to finishing this cabinet is milling the shiplap slats for the back. Shiplap is fairly easy to create and produces a beautiful back panel with some depth and shadow. The rebate is cut on the router table, and then the edges are chamfered with the block plane. I build shiplap from 3/8 thick slats with a 3/16 deep by 1/2 inch wide rebate. I install the shiplap with an 1/8 inch reveal and a single screw at top and bottom. Here are the finished photos of the wine cabinet. Thanks for following along, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the process.